From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what we're working on for you over the next hour. Rice hits a 5-year high, but it's coming at the price of waterlogged crops. Lower crop prices are creating a new normal for equipment dealers.
$3.50 corn is probably here to stay for a while.
We're on the road with Machinery Pete to Iowa to see why, despite the roller coaster year, local farmers and dealers are cautiously optimistic. The possible impact of Brexit on trade.
It's not being thought through, unfortunately.
Our Farm Journal report looks into why leaving the EU could mean losing a certain protection in trade. And in John's world,
those big crop numbers, are they worth arguing about?
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado.
Now for the news that moved the markets this week. Rice prices hitting a 5-year high. On news, record-breaking rainfall in Louisiana and Arkansas will put a major damper on yields. Now, Arkansas is the #1 rice producer. Harvest is just starting in that state. And here are some pictures of crops underwater from the University of Arkansas's Ag Department. It's causing the rice to sprout prematurely, which means milling and yield loss when harvest starts. But in Louisiana, the #3 producer, it's peak harvest season right now, and early estimates show the flooding wiped out $14 million worth of the state's rice crop. The U.S. Rice Federation says about 80% of rice in southwest Louisiana had been harvested before the rains hit, but it's the remaining 20% that's more than likely gone. Those rains could also take their toll on Louisiana's cotton crop. Prior to the rain, the state had the highest USDA condition rating with 71% good to excellent, and the third of the crop's bowls were open. Now nationwide, 48% of the crop is good to excellent. Soybean ratings this week unchanged from last week. 72% is good to excellent across the country. 80% of the crop is setting pods. And the corn also looks good, 74% rated good to excellent. The dryness in Ohio is bringing down ratings there with a 3-point decline in that state. 21% of the crop is at dent stage, which is right on par with the 5-year average. Soybeans and corn are setting underwater in southern Illinois. That's as farmers deal with more record-breaking rainfall. In Illinois, it started Saturday with close to 10 inches falling in just a couple days. I was in Virgins, Illinois this week, and a local farmer, Wade Allard, says crops will be lost.
We've received 6.5 inches right here in Virgins, but north of us reports 7 to over 11 inches of rain, which will be coming down this way. We're afraid we're going to lose close to 300 acres.
Allard says his soybeans look exceptionally good, with even double crop soybeans expected to yield around 10 bushels above average. Well, the latest drought monitor showing those record rains in Louisiana are too much of a good thing, with the drought pretty much disappearing in the state. No surprise there. Now, the area called abnormally dry seeing a 14-point improvement just this week. And Ohio farmers benefiting from recent rains as well. Severe drought is now gone, and moderate drought is 20 points better. Now, it's not all good news. We did see dry conditions improve overall in Texas, but new pockets showing up in the West Texas area. And in the Northeast, it's still dry. 57% of the region is abnormally dry, and more than 2% is now in the extreme drought category. While grains are expected to hit new records in 2016, USDA also thinks alfalfa hay production will rise. It's anticipating 61.5 million tons this year, 4% higher than 2015. Other types of hay are also higher, with 2016 on pace to see record high per acre average yields and the third largest other hay crop ever. Crude oil seeing life this week over talks of a possible freeze in production. Oil prices rose for 6 straight days, with Brent hitting an 8-week high. Both West Texas Intermediate crude and Brent crude have risen more than 20% since early August. All right, those are the headlines. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen is in for Mike Hoffman this week. Cindy, from too dry to now too wet, many viewers could definitely use a break from all this rain.
Yeah, no kidding, Tyne. It's been just kind of crazy. You know, first we had Maryland, then Louisiana, still trying to clean up from there. Even South Bend earlier this week, we had some very, very heavy rain and some pretty bad flooding up here as well. Well, as far as the drought monitor, we've seen some improvement and some not so much. But where we've seen the improvement over the last week is pretty much the western Great Lakes and all the way through much of the Plains states, the eastern parts of the Four Corners region. We've seen in the western parts of the Gulf Coast states. The eastern parts really haven't changed a whole lot, and we haven't seen a lot of change, at least yet. I think next week's U.S. Drought Monitor will have some improvement in the Northeast. It's been virtually unchanged along the West Coast. All right, this is what it's been over the last 4 weeks, over the last month or so. You've seen how it's been getting worse in parts of the Northeast and especially into the Southeast, also in parts of the Plains, but we've seen a decent amount of improvement over the past week or so. All right, so what can we expect as we head through this week? Now, as we start off your week, it's going to be on the dry side for Monday and actually fairly pleasant for folks in the Great Lakes region, much of the Corn Belt. The wet weather, scattered showers and thunderstorms in the Southeast and also over to the Four Corners region. Now, as we head into Wednesday, we're going to see a front that's going to be moving through the nation's midsection, so look for showers and thunderstorms along there, back towards the Four Corners region. We'll keep it on the dry side in much of the northeastern United States down into the mid-Atlantic. Then as we head to Friday, that front still continuing to push on off to the east, so rain through much of the Great Lakes states down to the Gulf Coast, and another system moving into the northern plains. We'll have another check on weather coming up a little bit later on in the show. Tyne?
Thanks, Cindy. Well, these commodity prices have been fairly resilient since USDA hit us with big crop production numbers. We'll find out why from Brian Bastine and Brad Matthews. That's after the break.
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-formed high-strength steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck.
Awesome. All right, let him drop.
Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Wow. That's a good-sized puncture.
That's all the way through for sure.
Full-on crack here.
You're aluminum now, you're gonna go, ooh.
Let's check out the Silverado's steel bed.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple dents.
I'd expect more dents.
Chevy clearly held up better than the Ford.
How do you define success? By hitting a new high on the yield monitor? By turning tough acres into productive acres? However you define success, your local DuPont Pioneer team is there with the insights you need to achieve it. So let's take it row by row, acre by acre, season after season. Pioneer, with you from the word go.
How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to file a claim. My central air stopped working and needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover air conditioners.
So what do you cover?
Well, home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Covered.
But not my air conditioner.
Mm-mm.
But his air conditioner would have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, washer, water heater, and more. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty from award-winning American Home Shield helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-944-5796.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report on the Marketing Roundtable. With me this week, Brian Bastine of Advanced Trading and Brad Matthews of Roach Ag. All right, last Friday we had this USDA report. We're still talking about it because people want to know, with this 175.1 corn yield, how did prices not drop and just bottom out? What is helping these prices right now? Why aren't we seeing the bottom fall out?
That's a good question. I think the initial reaction from the marketplace was, hey, huge yield that we just saw. They sold it down almost 10 cents right after the report. But the trade was also looking for a pretty big number. So once they got it, I think they said, okay, kind of sell the rumor, buy the fact. Mm-hmm. Plus, I'm not sure that the trade completely believes that that's really what the yield's going to be.
Yeah, so Brian, you think the trade maybe thinks this 175, that's probably not going to materialize this year?
Yeah, Brad makes a great point, Tyne. The trade had built in a pretty big number, and the fact that we had seen the market take a negative stance going into the report probably encouraged some short covering there. We've seen really good export demand here recently, so maybe there was some export buying down there too.
So next week, Pro Farmer Crop Tour will ground truth some of these initial numbers that came out of USDA. But Brad, do you think that this corn yield, do you think it needs to come down?
I can't say that I know that it needs to come down because we really don't know until we get out there and harvest this. I do believe that, to me, it seems like it's going to be difficult to beat the 2014 record by that much. We had really good conditions in 2014. We didn't have the heat, And that's where I'm wondering if we can beat 2014 because there was a lot more heat this year. And you hear stuff about tip back, some aborted kernels, stuff like that. So that's what my question is.
So what national yield are you going with right now?
I think it's somewhere between, on the very lowest, the 166, and somewhere, maybe, I have a hard time seeing it much above a 172.
Okay. Brian, you're around the Bloomington, Illinois area, and Brad asked you before we started this discussion. He said, is it better than 2014 in the Bloomington area? What do you think?
Well, we've done some crop tours, Ty, and it's not a secret that the crop tours are showing yields very close to, and in some cases maybe even a touch above 14. But this yield is still being determined. I think when you look at things like how many kernels it's going to take to make a bushel, 2014 we were much lower than 90,000 kernels to make a bushel. This year, if we are at 90,000, then we're probably not going to top that 14 level, but I think it certainly has the potential to challenge 14.
So what yield are you thinking right now?
We're a little bit lower than USDA. We're at 172.7 right now.
So what if USDA comes out this next report and does reduce yield? Do you think we're going to have much of an impact on price, or is it so hard to predict after Friday's reaction?
One of the things I'd remind your viewers, Tyne, is that we do have harvest coming up here, albeit with prices at low levels. We don't know if the harvest pressure that we typically might see will materialize, but harvest is harvest nevertheless in September and October. So, and a 172, 173 yield is still a record. So I would just caution your viewers that even if the number comes down, it still could be a record crop by far.
Okay, Brad, before this report, some analysts said, hey, if it's really bearish, we could possibly put this harvest low in early. We actually ended Friday, higher after the report. We haven't traded much lower or, since then. So what do you think? Do you think we have maybe already put a low in, or is there room to go down more?
Well, I think we'd actually have been up every day since the report, including the report day. I would say my humble opinion is 50 to 60% chance that we do have a low in, and if we don't, then I think the harvest low only goes about 10 or 15 cents at most below the current price. To his point for harvest, you typically have a seasonal rally going into the end of this month, very early September, and then it is down. You're supposed to put in another seasonal low sometime in October. The question is the harvest low going to be lower than the low we just put in? And something to think about is that the old theory is lows are made on the most bearish news, and I'm not sure that you're going to throw anything more bearish than what we saw last Friday.
That's a really good point. On the soybean side of that equation, I'm hearing some really big possible soybean yields out there. I know it's really hard to tell this early, but do you think USDA is going to raise that soybean yield in coming months?
I would think that with the September report, I would say no. I think typically the USDA, and particularly for soybeans, waits until they have more information, which means they'll wait till October when they get some more of their early harvest done. But 48.9 is certainly a great yield. And I think for the September report anyway, now again, stranger things have happened, but I think they might, that'd be the top end for this report. But
Brad, what do you think?
I was surprised they raised it as much on the last report. I was expecting a higher number, but they went even greater than what I was looking for. So I would agree. To me, if they do make an adjustment, I would think it's a small one.
All right. Well, is there more risk in corn or soybeans? We're going to talk about that when we come back, as well as see where the funds set in each of these markets. And we're even going to hit on cattle and hogs. So stay with us. We'll be right back on U.S. Farm Report.
The desire to bring real-world solutions to growers' difficult production challenges has led Bayer to introduce Credenz, our national brand of soybean seed, backed by years of research in smart genetics. Smart genetics is based on 4 concepts.
State-of-the-art breeding
Allows Bayer to identify key traits and characteristics that bring value and protection to your soybean production situation. Next is herbicide-tolerant traits. The flexibility of multiple trait platforms allows growers to pick the most effective weed control system for their farm. Next is tailored varieties. With a robust portfolio, Credenz offers many solutions for difficult situations that you may experience, along with our best-in-class agronomic service team to support variety selection. And last is ongoing innovation. Bayer is continuing to invest in ways to improve yields and increase the profitability on your farm.
Once you cut a tree down, what do you do about the stump? Grind it down with a DR Stump Grinder, the fast, easy, and affordable solution for stump removal. Thanks to the power of a world-class engine and carbide-tipped cutting teeth, the DR Stump Grinder tackles any size stump. With each pass, these teeth quickly shave the stump down, taking a remarkable 360 bites per second. In no time, the stump is completely gone. All that's left behind is a pile of wood chips. Get behind the power of a DR Stump Grinder to rid your property of tree stumps forever.
Call 1-800-505-6081 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can try a DR Stump Grinder for 1 year. With our special financing plan, you can own a DR by making low monthly payments. Plus, get free shipping if you call now. 1-800-505-6081. Online at drstumpgrinder.com.
Welcome back. Well, in our news block, you heard about some of the flooding that's going on in Louisiana and further south, southern Illinois. We had flooding up here in Indiana. Is it proof that there's still a lot of crop year left, Brad?
Yeah, there is in soybeans. I mean, they say that beans are made in August and there's a lot of August left and even part of early September. The thing is that usually what's going to threaten the crop is going to be heat, and we haven't seen that. So we are losing some yield in the Delta area from all this flooding. At the same time, in a lot of other areas, the rains have been very beneficial.
That's a good
So
point, yeah.
the biggest thing to the crop, honestly, at this point in time, in my opinion, would be if there's an early frost, and I don't think anybody can bet on that.
Brian?
I would agree with that. I think anytime you get into late August, early September, you have to respect the frost variable. We typically don't see that very often, but it only takes one instance to happen to really change the balance sheet quite a bit. So yes, I think that we respect the fact that we still got several weeks left of the growing season for beans.
And you can't predict Mother Nature any year, but especially not this year. She's throwing some surprises at us. So right now, Brad, do you think there's more risk in corn or soybeans moving forward?
That's a great question. My personal opinion would be that there's more risk in soybeans. But with that being said, I also think that the greater upside's in soybeans. See, the funds have a large position in soybeans where they don't have a long position in corn. They're short corn. So that's where the risk is in soybeans. If you were to go ahead and say that the yield's getting bigger, the funds pull out, they end up taking net short, they can drive prices lower than what makes sense simply because of money. At the same time, the balance sheet gets much tighter, much quicker with any type of yield reduction. So I think they have more downside risk, but I also think they have way more upside.
Brian, what do you think has the bigger risk?
I think both crops have downside risk, Tyne. I think at this point I'll take the other side of the coin and say corn, just because of the fact that the demand for soybeans right now is historically strong. With the demand not only from China but from also some of the other Asian countries, and the fact that the Brazilian and Argentine crops were not quite as big as we expected, and just to respect that this corn crop could be underlying a record, and the fact that the demand is not quite as strong as it is for beans.
Brad, you mentioned the funds. What's the funds position in corn right now, and is it surprising to you?
It's close to 140,000 contracts net short, and that's not a record, but it is on the larger side of how short that they typically get. I'm not surprised because we're talking about 175 bushel yield, but I think what the trade needs to realize is that if the USDA happens to be wrong, if they have to backpedal on this yield, and to his point, bean demand is better, but corn demand is also close to a record. And with that demand, if you see the supply side start to shrink, the funds have to backpedal and pull out, that's where you get an over-exaggerated move to the upside.
Brian, have you been following this oil prices much? I mean, we've seen a pretty nice uptick in prices because of talks of potential production freeze. Is that really all there is to this story, or is there more?
It has been a trader's market, if you will. I think over the last several weeks' time, it got quite weak, and now it's bouncing back a bit. The oil market I don't follow really closely, other than to say I think that it's a volatile market, and the time being, I might be looking at if I was a buyer of oil needs, fuel needs, I might be looking at an opportunity to get some coverage on to the upside.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cattle market, Brad, do you think we can retest some of the lows that we've seen in cattle?
I think we're going to. Typically, you have September and November are usually weak months. This time of year is not really a great time of year. You usually get your better rallies in the cattle market after the first of the year, typically seasonal highs in February. So I think we retest the lows, and then I really think we trade in some kind of a range for the next, say, 2 months.
What about in the hog market? I mean, the lean hog contract's not pretty either, but where do you think we're heading there?
Well, the challenge is as they move into a seasonal time period here where slaughter increases substantially, and we may challenge the slaughter capacity of the U.S. this fall. So how much of that's built into the market is the question everyone's struggling with right now. But I think the slaughter numbers so far relative to the June hogs and pigs report seem to imply that we do have a chance to challenge record slaughter numbers for this fall.
On the flip side, feed users, you talk possibly there is some more downside risk in corn, but should these feed users still be locking in some of these prices if they have not already?
Yes, I think definitely, with the fact that the demand is so strong, not only for beans, but I also would agree with Brad that the corn demand has snuck under the radar a bit. We're seeing very strong new crop corn demand, and the price is there today at a low level. Why not take advantage of them?
Brad, do you think so too?
I absolutely agree. If you don't do it in the cash market, you at least got to do something on the board. And if you're not comfortable with futures, where you buy a call and sell a put underneath, or at least a call option. But yeah, I think not only 1 year's, but potentially looking at 2 years worth of at least price risk protection.
All right. Well, we want to get your closing thoughts. We've talked about a lot, but we'll wrap it up when we come back in Markets Now.
Attention women. Recent medical studies have shown that the use of talcum powder can cause ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using talcum powder, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. A 2013 jury verdict found that Johnson & Johnson, one of the largest manufacturers of talcum powder, had failed to warn consumers of the link between ovarian cancer and talc-based powders, and that their talcum products were responsible for causing ovarian cancer. If you used talcum powder and were later diagnosed with cancer, or if a loved one even died from ovarian cancer after using talcum powder, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney to determine if you may qualify. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait.
Call 1-800-842-1969. Again, that's 1-800-842-1969.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-316-1198 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-316-1198. Call now.
Welcome back to Markets Now. Brad, let's hear your closing thoughts this week.
I think the biggest thing for producers is after the size of the down move that we've seen in corn and in soybeans, a lot of people are fearful that they've missed it, and a lot of guys are talking about selling corn down here. And my biggest thing is, if you're going to be needing to sell corn because you don't have the storage, or even guys who might have not sold all their old crop, I believe that you have to attach upside here. Something that has a lot of time, that gets you through all the way next spring, next summer, but there's so much that can change, and we've already priced in probably 90% of all the negative news. So what can change in the next 12 months is a lot. Once again, my opinion is you have to attach upside to any sales.
Okay, some good advice. Brian?
I think as producers approach harvest here in the fall time, get control of your 2016 bushels. By that we mean get a floor underneath this market, but leave the upside open. Flexibility in your marketing. Look for an opportunity to set a floor with a cash sale and a call option purchase or a put option purchase, but give yourself flexibility because there's a whole growing season ahead of us.
Yeah, some good advice from both of you. Thank you so much. Stay with us. John Phipps joins us when we come back.
Receive a free trial of the Daily Market Letter and gain knowledge about current market conditions from the professionals at Bauer Trading. View the markets like never before. Go to BauerTrading.com.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. share little moments, and stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
This is an important medical announcement regarding the prescription blood thinner Xarelto. If you or a loved one has been hospitalized or died from serious internal bleeding, including bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system after taking Xarelto, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Time may be limited to file a claim, so don't delay. Call Xarelto Relief Line now. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. The prescription blood thinner medication Xarelto has been linked to an increased risk of severe internal bleeding, hemorrhaging, stroke, heart attack, and even death. If you or a loved one experienced severe internal bleeding, or if a loved one died as a result of taking Xarelto, call Xarelto Relief Line now. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing until your case is settled. Call Xarelto Relief Line today for a free case evaluation.
Please call 800-970-0580. That is 800-970-0580.
Welcome back. Well, many in farm country are still talking about USDA's most recent crop production report. John Phipps has more from the farm.
Well, more than a few of us were surprised by the August crop report, and even more surprised by the market reaction, or lack of it, to the seemingly huge numbers. As I tried to salvage my own marketing strategy for this crop in the aftermath, I was reminded of a negotiation technique I learned years ago. The editor of Top Producer magazine sent me to a 3-day short course on negotiation at Northwestern University. It was conducted by 2 leading experts in the field. I managed to grasp and remember a couple of key tactics, one of which is when you are at an impasse, make a bet. In other words, instead of wasting time yelling is to and is not at each other, put your money where your mouth is. Now, this can only be done when the outcome is clearly defined, like the score of a game or the price of a stock. But the investment of real money makes us far more critical of our own thinking and produces better outcomes. Farmers who are now debating just how big the crop is and whether the USDA numbers are correct should consider this technique. If we think there's something fishy with the USDA number, instead of railing about government, bet against them. Keep in mind that, in fact, all of us actually already have a bet on in the form of owning a crop in the field, not to mention a crop next year and beyond. If we all do nothing else, we are betting the value of that crop, those crops, will increase somehow. Now, this could be the smart move, or not, but the lesson is that coming up with sound reasons why prices should be different or the numbers should be different than USDA won't change either the market or our own situation. What it can do is distract us from the fact that we have real money at risk all the time we're arguing.
Thanks, John. Well, despite this roller coaster ride in prices recently, farmers and dealers in Iowa are cautiously optimistic. We'll tell you why as we head on the road with Machinery Pete.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast. From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report. We have much more ahead over the next 30 minutes. The Brexit vote could have a major impact on trade, and it all has to do with geographical indicators. We'll explain in our Farm Journal report. Farmers and equipment dealers are cautiously optimistic in Iowa. We're off to Winterset as we head on the road with Machinery Pete. And in customer support, why so much talk about cash rents when we discuss cutting expenses? John explains. Now for the headlines, America's rural bankers are raising the caution flag on farm incomes for the end of 2016 and 2017 as Creighton University's Rural Main Street Index fell again in July. The RMI is a monthly survey of bank CEOs in rural areas of a 10-state region, and it's out for July. The index fell again last month, dropping below 40. 50 is considered growth neutral. This is the 11th straight month the index has remained below that growth neutral stage. Now, as a result of weaker farm economic conditions, bankers do expect almost 1 in 5 crop farmers, or nearly 20%, to suffer negative cash flows in 2016. On average, farm loan defaults are expected to rise by more than 5% over the next year.
2017, if we don't see an adjustment in inputs, we don't see an adjustment in cash rents as a whole, and we see commodity prices stay flat with where it appears they're going to be, no question there's going to be red ink. To what level is that red ink going to be on a per acre basis? Obviously, it's going to vary from producer to producer, but I certainly don't think $50 to $100 an acre would be out of the question.
Hoskins says having a good relationship with your banker and continuing to have open conversations can help during these tough times. The EPA is putting farmers and ag professionals on notice. It's investigating the alleged misuse of dicamba in farm fields. It says extension experts continue to report damage from what appears to be the illegal use of dicamba in fields near or adjacent to dicamba-resistant cotton and soybeans. The EPA stresses it has not registered any dicamba herbicides for applications over the top during the season for cotton or soybeans.
The soybean are extremely sensitive to dicamba. They always have been, and they always will be. And so proper application techniques, timings, et cetera, become very, very important, because the symptoms of off-target movement of something like dicamba on soybean can be very easily seen. It's very, very hard to miss some of these fields where virtually every soybean plant has misshapen or malformed leaves because somehow or another dicamba exposure has taken place.
In Missouri alone, the state is reporting 117 instances of misuse and a negative impact on some 42,000 acres. Well, if you're planning on attending the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa this year, you may want to pencil us in. We'll be at the show the first 2 days doing live tapings. On Tuesday, we'll be at the channel booth from 11:30 to 1. I have an impressive lineup of analysts, including Joe Vaclavic, Matt Bennett, and Angie Setzer. We'll break down these crazy market prices, and we'll also be serving lunch, but it is first come, first serve. Then on Wednesday, join us at the Asgrow DeKalb booth. Chip Flory and Machinery Pete will join me to discuss yields and equipment. Plus, we're giving away a Yeti cooler to one lucky visitor. So we hope to see you there. That's it for the news. Let's check back in with Cindy Clausen. Cindy, what's on tap the next 30 days?
Well, we're going to be seeing some interesting changes in our forecast. Let's first look at the week ahead and start off with the jet stream. We've had a little system that pushed through, brought some wet weather to the Corn Belt over the weekend. We're going to see a bit of a warm up as we get into the middle part of the week, but notice another trough with another storm system that will move through later on in the week through much of the nation's midsection, and that will keep the temperatures still not really cold, pretty average, especially in the northern United States. All right, as we take a look at those 30-day temperatures, much of us in that normal area, but we're looking to see above normal along the east coast and much of the Gulf Coast as well as the west, and then maybe a little bit on the cool side in parts of the upper Midwest and into the northern plains. Taking a look at the precipitation for the next 30 days on the wet side along the east coast, along the Gulf Coast as well, and parts of the Four Corners region, but we think it's going to be just a bit on the dry side in the upper Midwest and parts of the northern plains and into the Pacific Northwest. Tyne?
Thanks, Cindy. Well, global trade has been a hot talking point this presidential campaign season, but for American agriculture, trade is not just a political talking point. It's an economic issue directly related to exports of U.S.-grown farm products. One issue in particular is a major stumbling block in negotiating a trade deal with the European Union, and that's geographical indicators. Now, GIs refer to well-known products that come from a certain country or region, like champagne from France or Gorgonzola cheese from Italy. In this Farm Journal report, Clinton Griffiths tells us why protecting those products is a matter of national identity.
Europe is getting other countries to say, if the name of the cheese has a European name on it, you can only buy it from Europe, you can't buy it from America.
House Speaker Paul Ryan represents a portion of Wisconsin's famed dairy industry and its $43 billion economic impact to the state. Ryan says Europe's protection of regional iconic food products is nothing less than a trade barrier.
So that's why you need trade agreements to say, don't agree to their rules, agree to these rules, our rules, so that we can have these markets for our products. That's why it's important that we actually have trade. The question is it a good agreement or not?
Inside this butcher shop in the town of Melton Mowbray, Stephen Hallam carefully crafts the town's signature dish, the Melton Mowbray pork pie. It's a traditional British cold meat pie filled with chopped pork and pork jelly. It's sealed in a baked crust pastry. To the people of this town, this named dish is a source of regional pride and economics. Right now, the product is protected by a certificate of regional authenticity from the EU. But after the voters of the UK decided to break off from the European Union, they now risk losing the protection of their geographical indicator.
If European protection is lost through coming out of Europe, then we need in this country to tabulate some or formulate some legislation that picks up where PGI has always been for us, to protect the pork pie, the Melton Mowbray pork pie, and other food products for perpetuity.
Matthew O'Callaghan is a chairman of United Kingdom Protected Food Names Association. He says the UK has 72 protected food names, and they could all be at risk from imitators.
Anybody in Europe could then copy our products, as anybody in the UK could copy a Melton Mowbray pork pie, for example. It's not been thought through, unfortunately.
And that could mean a loss of big bucks to the community. O'Callaghan says sales of the Melton Mowbray pork pie bring 60 million pounds, or about $78 million to the area, and double that amount when you include tourism. Reporting for U.S. Farm Report, I'm Clinton Griffiths.
Thanks, Clinton. Well, American Farm Bureau did tell me this week for every $1 billion of trade created for the U.S., it means 7,500 jobs here at home. When we come back, John Phipps.
Join Drovers and Dr. Dan Thompson for our 3rd annual Feedlot Cowboy College on September 7th and 8th in Dodge City, Kansas. This 2-day seminar, led by respected and knowledgeable industry experts, is filled with timely information for feedlot operators. Topics include animal health, low-stress animal handling, technology, and how to improve animal welfare. Attendance will also qualify you as BQA certified. For more information, visit droverscowboycollege.com.
One look tells you right away, this is performance that pays. Now take a closer look and ask yourself, is it new or is it John Deere used? With impressive fuel economy, comfort, convenience, and overall performance, it's really a close call. Our late model used equipment is time-tested, field-proven, and backed by the most trusted name in farm equipment. For even more peace of mind, our certified pre-owned machines deliver. New or new to you, nothing runs like a Deere. Visit Machine Finder or see your dealer today.
How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to file a claim. My central air stopped working and needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover air conditioners.
So what do you cover?
Well, home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Covered.
But not my air conditioner.
Mm-mm.
But his air conditioner would have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, washer, water heater, and more. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty from award-winning American Home Shield helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-944-5796.
Earlier in the show, you heard from an ag banker who said we need to see a major cost adjustment in order for farmers to make money next year. One farmer wants to know why so much buzz is about rental rates. And to answer that, here's John Phipps.
Your call is very important to us. Please hold.
Doug Northrup from Letcher, South Dakota chimes in on a big topic we covered last week, and also that farmers are talking about: cash rents. Can you tell me why rent is the only option to go down? I know rent is high, but we've been told we must pay more for fertilizer, tires, seed corn, trucking, steel, electricity because fuel is high. Crop insurance, corn now cheap. The cost can and should come down from all areas. Doug, thanks for writing. Your mug's on the way. This topic is all over the media and dominates farmer conversations for good reasons. We're exhausting our working capital, our ready cash, by growing crops below break-even cost. While cash rents have been signaled out as the main target for reduction, it's because rents are determined residually. In other words, there are cash inputs absolutely needed to grow a crop like corn. Seed, nitrogen, pesticides, and fuel are simply non-negotiable. All other inputs can be skipped or scrimped, although with significant potential yield loss. This also values your labor at zero. Now, if you add those numbers up, estimate crop income, you can arrive at a maximum you can pay for rent without actually paying to farm. While it's far more accurate to include fixed expenses like machinery costs or living expenses, this cruder version will tell you if you simply can come out of the field with any gross profit. The point is, rents can't come out of income first because you can't skip the other costs. Right now, this bare bones model indicates many rents are too high to be paid. That said, all input costs, including rents, are not determined as much by this type of arithmetic as by competition. If you don't have competitors for seed or fertilizer, for instance, those vendors have more power to get their price, forcing cash rents lower. If there are competing farmers who will pay more than your maximum rent, regardless of whether it generates profit or not, you have a very hard decision. I will talk much more about this process in upcoming shows, but having been through it in the 80s, my guess is right now we are all underestimating our abilities to make these drastic adjustments.
Thanks, John. Well, when we come back, if $3.50 is the new normal for corn prices, how are equipment dealers adjusting? We're on the road with Machine and Repeat to Winterset, Iowa next.
What's the best way to protect your home and family when storms and winds knock out your electricity? The answer is a home standby generator from Generac. It automatically supplies power to your home within seconds of a power outage. To get our best deal ever, go to Generac.com and download this certificate worth $995. Use it when you purchase a Generac home standby generator to get our 10-year ultimate warranty for free. That's a $995 value free, but you must claim your certificate now. Go to Generac.com or call 1-800-394-1563.
It's one of the best investments I've ever made in this house.
It gives you security, it's reliable.
That gives you that feeling of security that, to me, is priceless.
Claim your $995 certificate now at Generac.com.
The new DR trimmer mowers are here, and they're better than ever. The walk-behind DRs feature world-class engines and easy rolling wheels that let you trim along buildings, decks, and fence lines, mow tall grass and waist-high weeds without tangling, even cut brush up to 3 inches thick with optional cutting attachments. And now there's a full line of tow-behind DR trimmer mowers. Choose from models customized for riding mowers, ATVs, or compact tractors. So turn to DR and get the job done right.
Call 1-800-409-1854 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. We'll include a limited-time offer to try a DR at home for a full year. Free shipping is now in effect, and payments start as low as $25 a month. Hurry, this offer won't last. 1-800-409-1854. Online at drtrimmer.com.
DR is professional power done right.
On the Road with Machine Repeat is brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
Welcome back. Well, there's no doubt lower commodity prices have been an adjustment, but in Iowa, it's a promising crop in the field, painting a better outlook this year. This week, as we head on the road with Machine and Repeat, we make a stop in Winterset, Iowa, where both farmers and dealers are confident they can weather the headwinds in 2016.
We're looking at this as basically the new normal. $3.50 corn is probably here to stay for a while.
2016 is proving to be a roller coaster year. Despite the highs and lows, farmers in Iowa are vigilant.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Crop looks great, optimistic that we're going to have a good harvest and good yield.
That's how I would describe it across the U.S. and Canada. When we talk to farmers and when we go to auctions, cautiously optimistic.
In Madison County, it's a good mix between livestock and row crops.
So this is a very diverse area here. We got a lot of hay, cattle, hog operations, as well as your normal corn and bean operations that you would see. So a very diverse area right here.
For the row crop farmers, things got off to a dry start.
We had a really dry June. Had about 7/10 of an inch for the whole month.
Martins says that helped the crop's roots dig deep and establish a strong start. And for hay producers, it made cutting much easier.
Last 2 or 3 years, it's been a real struggle in this area because of the weather to get the first cutting up and get it up in good condition. And we got it up early, so it's good quality and it's in good condition. It didn't get rained on, so yeah, it's probably the best one in the last 3 or 4 years for this area.
Bauer used a new baler this year, but he also upgraded his planter and combine. Martin says he upgraded equipment, moving from strip tilling 30-inch rows to 20-inch corn. And it's a move he says translates to more yield.
Yeah, I'm hoping usually anywhere from 5 to 20 bushel an acre increase.
Another piece of technology that's been a game changer for Martins is row shutoffs.
With that, it'll save me about $7,000 in seed cost a year. With a lot of waterways and terraces and point rows, that's a must-have.
Yeah, row shutoffs were at the time, revolutionary as far as what we were seeing for cost savings, and now it's just a given that it has to be on a planter. And from now, we've went from that to then variable rate planting, where you can go from, our guys are probably anywhere from planting 25,000 seeds an acre up to mid-30s in the same field, just based on data that we've gathered.
Farming in this area of Iowa is not only diverse, but competitive. And Bauer says it's adding technology that's helped give him an edge.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've implemented all GPS technology in all of our activities. So when we start, we variable rate all of our seeding, we variable rate all of our anhydrous ammonia, we variable rate all of our chemicals, we variable rate all of our fertilizer, and then we're capturing all that data. So I think being able to have that data, we're at the point now where we can actually start to make good business decisions based on that.
Ease of access and speed of access is key right now.
That's something AgriVision says is becoming a need on many area farms.
Technology is a big driver today, and that's probably what we're seeing more and more each day is people are looking for a return on their investment.
Helps us get a really good handle on our costs, so we know exactly what the costs are per unit, per area of, with down to a 60-foot by 60-foot grid of a field.
Bauer says while he sees more consistent yields today, the boost to his bottom line didn't happen overnight.
I think a lot of people go into it maybe with some misconception that, I'm going to see a huge savings. The savings you get is taking that technology and then making your operation more efficient from that.
That need for more technology is driving equipment trends across the country right now.
The 1 to 5-year-old combines, the pricing was solid, holding, and the search traffic was even up on that stuff. So it's a very good sign.
Machinery Pete says potential buyers were worried prices would continue to fall this year, but values found footing and are holding strong.
One thing, Tyne, we haven't seen so far in 2016 is the huge volume of late model stuff that we saw in 2015. There were a lot of dealers that pushed a lot of stuff last 6 months of 15 onto the market and sold, and now we haven't seen as much of that in 2016.
AgriVision says buying momentum has been surprising, but it's a balancing act helping them weather the storm in 2016.
We feel we found the bottom. We're still cautiously optimistic, but we feel we have found the bottom in this used equipment market.
Now, tillage equipment is also a major focus at AgriVision Equipment, and Machinery Pete says tillage has been a popular search item on machinerypete.com. When we come back, Machinery Pete rejoins us for this week's Tractor Tales.
Don't miss the nation's largest outdoor ag exposition, the 2016 Farm Progress Show, August 30th, 31st, and September 1st at Boone, Iowa. The 90-acre Expo City features over 600 exhibitors, bigger than ever before. More exhibitors, more new products, even more new great events for you to take in. It's August 30th through September 1st, just west of Interstate Highway 35 at Boone, Iowa. Go to farmprogressshow.com for more information and to order tickets.
The IRS garnished my paycheck.
We owed the IRS $30,000.
The IRS will stop at nothing to collect the money you owe. They will levy your paycheck, seize your assets, and can even put you in jail.
We were afraid and didn't know what to do, so we called Tax Help Today, and they got us help.
My wage garnishment was lifted, and now I can pay my rent.
Call Tax Help today at 800-908-4885 for a free consultation. That number is 800-908-4885 for tax help.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Time now for Tractor Tales with Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week we're off to northeastern Illinois, where we'll meet the owner of an International 350. This collector is not only a veteran in service, but also a veteran in restoring classic tractors. Alan Kleinert remodeled most of this 1957 Farmall and is very proud of how it turned out.
My friends were all doing tractor drives and shows, and I wanted to get with them, and I was kind of shopping around, and this come for sale in a local Clifton here, and I bought it and brought it home. It took me 5 months to restore her, and I drive it, I tractor pull it, I do everything. We got what we call a farm class here. If you can't plow with it, you can't pull. And there's about 65 of us around the area that get together at the county fairs, the local plowing days, stuff like that. We get together and we love playing with our toys. The flag, I was in the service and I'm dedicated to the flag. I worked with the Army in Vietnam, and I'm very happy to serve that flag, and I will till the day I die. That's why they have flags on my tractors. I take them to the local overpass here and sit on top and with the flag, and people honk and wave. And I didn't do the hood or the grill or the dash, but I did everything else. Did it in my garage, and then I took it out to the man cave and painted it there. That's where the work is done out there. I got a couple more to do this year if I want, but I don't know yet. I got friends who'll help me. Give it to my sons when I pass away, I guess. Tell them they can't sell it. It's our tractor. I'm very proud of it, very proud. I did all the work myself. You know, I painted it myself except for the hood and that, but when I sit on that, I'm just as proud as a peacock, I guess you could say, when you get on them. Because, you know, I did it, it's mine, and I wouldn't trade the experience for nothing. Everybody ought to do it.
Thanks so much. Well, today's Country Church salute goes to the St. John Lutheran Church of Charter Oak, Iowa, celebrating their 135th anniversary this year. The church that stands today is 90 years old. And an interesting fact, the church is actually 10 years older than the town, as Charter Oak celebrated its 125th anniversary in June. Our thanks to Dell Warren for sharing their story. Well, don't go anywhere. I have viewer photos next on U.S. Farm Report.
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-formed high-strength steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck. Awesome. All right, let him drop. Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Oh, wow. That's a good-sized puncture.
That's all the way through for sure.
Full-on crack here.
If you're aluminum now, you're gonna go, ooh. Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow. Yeah, a couple dents.
I'd expect more dents.
Chevy clearly held up better than the Ford.
How do you define success? By hitting a new high on the yield monitor? By turning tough acres into productive acres? However you define success, your local DuPont Pioneer team is there. with the insights you need to achieve it. So let's take it row by row, acre by acre, season after season. Pioneer, with you from the word go.
How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to file a claim. My central air stopped working and needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover air conditioners.
So what do you cover?
Well, home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Covered.
But not my air conditioner.
But his air conditioner would have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, washer, water heater, and more. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty from award-winning American Home Shield helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-944-5796.
Welcome back. Well, we showed you some heartbreaking flooding earlier in the show, but some of the rain hit areas that really did need it. Eric is in Cedar Springs, Michigan, and last week he received 2 inches of rain in the west central portion of the state. He says other areas had anywhere from 3 to 5 inches, and as a result, the crops are happy. Well, this is what the Illinois State Fair looked like last Friday night. 5 inches of rain fell in 12 hours. Matt Bergener was at the State Fair and shared these photos. The Happy Hollow campgrounds on State Fair property was especially hard hit as runoff drained into the gully. Exhibitors parked their campers there, and the State Fair officials say 54 campers were underwater. Well, Scott sent us this picture of his son, Will, spraying tobacco. Apparently, we showed his brother on the show last year, so Will wanted to show off his skills. Well, we shared this picture on our Facebook page. Meet 9-year-old Trey Kimbrell. He just can't get enough of farming. Now, when most boys his age would be playing video games at home, he's in the field from morning to night running the combine solo. And if he's not combining, he's running the grain cart. So impressive and proof that hard work really can start at a young age. And in agriculture, I think it's almost like farm kids have a hardworking gene when they're born. Impressive. And my partner in crime, Mike Byers, a videographer for us, he shot this picture this week near Champaign, Illinois. Great sunset shot. Thanks, Mike. Well, we want to hear from you. You can send us your pictures by doing that at mailbag@usfarmreport.com, or also you can post those to Facebook or Twitter. For all of us at US Farm Report, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us again right here next week as we work to build on our tradition. Have a great weekend, everyone.
High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Chevy Silverado, the official news-gathering vehicle of U.S. Farm Report. U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.